Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare an ancient Roman recipe. Meatballs with a delicious aromatic sauce. We start with ingredients. We need pork tenderloin, garum, we talk later about it, olive oil, a bit of honey, wheat starch, asafoetida, black pepper, lovage and ginger. And then fresh oregano. You can also choose to use dried oregano, and you will obtain a delicious sauce anyway. First, we mince the meat. We chose pork tenderloin, but in ancient Rome, meatballs were made with any kind of meat. The author of this recipe, for example, mentions in his cookbook pork, chicken, rabbit, and even pheasant and peacock. Now we grind the black pepper in the mortar. We are choosing here black pepper because it pairs perfectly with pork meat, but ancient Romans used any kind of pepper: long, white and black pepper. We add the black pepper and a bit of garum and combine them with the meat. Then we add a bit of olive oil and briefly mix everything. Now we shape the mixture into meatballs. The original recipe doesn't tell us the shape and size of the meatballs, but we know that ancient Romans made both big meatballs called isicia and little meatballs called isiciola. Now we grind in the mortar black pepper and lovage. We are preparing a sauce in which we'll cook the meatballs. This recipe is called in Latin isicia mulata, that can be roughly translated as meatballs cooked with starch. Then we grate a bit of asafoetida. Asafoetida has a delicious taste, but can easily overpower the other spices. Then we mince a bit of ginger and the oregano. This step will help us to grind them more easily in the mortar. We add the ginger and oregano in the mortar and pound them with the spices. This recipe is part of the cookbook conventionally attributed to Apicius. It's the widest source of ancient Roman recipes and includes several meatball recipes, both with meat and seafood, called isicia. The Italian word salsiccia, that means sausage, comes from isicia. The ancient isicia were prepared without sausage casing, but sometimes they were wrapped in cold fat. Now we add a bit of honey and garum. Garum was an ancient fermented fish sauce, widely used by all Mediterranean populations, in particular Romans, Greeks and Phoenicians. Reading the historical sources, we found a few recipes of garum. While the basic recipe requires just 2 ingredients, salt and fish, there are also more complex ones, with many spices and aromatic herbs. The simplest version of garum is identical to many modern-day Southeast Asian fish sauces. If you don't find a garum, today there are a few producers, you can use one of these fish sauces to substitute it, or add just a pinch of salt. We pour in a pan the sauce diluted with a bit of water. When it starts to boil, we add the meatballs and cook them for a few minutes. When the meatballs are cooked, we add the wheat starch diluted with water. As soon as the sauce thickens, the meatballs are ready. This recipe is the perfect way to try a different method to cook meatballs and to taste one of the most common courses served in an ancient Roman banquet. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, or you're just looking for unusual and delicious recipes, please subscribe our channel.